Everyone wants success, but most people are looking in the wrong place. They chase results, promotions, money, recognition, and the approval of others, thinking that will make them feel accomplished. But results are unpredictable, fragile, and often outside your control. You can work hard for months or years, yet a single circumstance can change the outcome. That's why so many people live frustrated, defeated, and disappointed. The secret is simple and often ignored: obsession with the work, not the results. Focus on what you can control: your effort, your skill, your daily actions, your attitude, and let the results take care of themselves. When you invest in the process, when you refine your craft, when you show up and give your best consistently, you build a foundation no circumstance can shake. Your work becomes your power, discipline becomes your habit, excellence becomes inevitable. The moment you stop measuring yourself by outcomes and start measuring yourself by your dedication to the work, you gain freedom. Freedom from anxiety, freedom from comparison, freedom from excuses, because now your life is built on what you can control. You will still face challenges, setbacks, and failures, but they will not define you. Your identity, your confidence, your momentum will come from the relentless pursuit of mastery in what you do each day. Obsess over the work, and you will naturally become better, stronger, smarter. You will grow in ways that results alone cannot deliver. You will feel satisfaction, pride, and power because you are creating a life built on action, not luck. The work is your responsibility. The work is your tool. The work is your gift to yourself. When you dedicate yourself to it, every outcome becomes possible. Those who understand this principle rise above fear, above disappointment, above mediocrity. They live on purpose, they grow relentlessly, and they achieve in ways that others only dream about. This is not theory. This is reality. Focus on the work, embrace the process, commit to your craft every day, and the results will follow. And when they do, they will be far greater than anything you ever imagined. The path to extraordinary success is not chasing outcomes. The path is getting obsessed with your work every single day, in every single way. That is where power lives. That is where freedom lives. That is where real achievement begins. Part 1. Focus every ounce of energy on doing your best today. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who work every single day. That's the truth. Most people dream of results, but very few are willing to live for the work. You see, life rewards the person who gives their all, in the moment, not the one who's just thinking about the finish line. The people who win in life are not those who only chase the end goal, but those who wake up and say, today, I'll give everything I've got. Because if you give your best today, and then tomorrow, and the day after that, the results will have no choice but to show up. You can't control outcomes. You can't control how fast things happen or who gets there before you. But you can control how much heart you put into the work. You can control your attitude, your focus, your effort. And if you give everything you've got in those areas, you'll never feel like you lost, no matter what the result looks like. Because the real victory is knowing you did your part completely. When you get obsessed with doing your best today, you stop worrying about what's next. You stop asking, when will I make it? And start asking, how can I grow today? That question changes everything because it shifts your attention from waiting to working, from hoping to building. It puts your mind where it should be, in the present moment, where progress actually happens. The people who win big in life aren't those who only think big. They work big. They don't talk about what they're going to do. They do it. They put in the hours, the focus, the discipline, the small efforts that no one sees. Because they know if they take care of the work, The work will take care of the results. Too many people waste years waiting for success instead of creating it. They check the scoreboard before playing the game. They want the prize before they've paid the price, but life doesn't work that way. You don't get the trophy for dreaming about it. You earn it by doing the work that others avoid. When you focus your energy on doing your best today, you'll notice something powerful. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop stressing about where you should be. You begin to find peace in effort itself. You begin to feel proud, not because you've arrived, but because you're becoming. And that's a feeling no result can replace. People who get obsessed with results often burn out, but those who get obsessed with the work, they keep growing because the work gives them purpose, the work gives them strength, the work gives them identity. The person who loves the work will always outlast the one who only loves the reward. So the next time you sit down to work, remember this: your goal is not to finish first. Your goal is to give everything you have right now. Do it with pride, do it with passion, do it because that's who you are. The results will come. They always do for the one who shows up daily with full commitment. In the end, success isn't about how fast you got there. It's about how deeply you gave yourself to the journey. The results fade, the numbers change, but the habits, the growth, and the person you become through your effort, that stays forever. So get obsessed with the work, not the outcome. Because when you fall in love with what you do daily, success will fall in love with you too. Part 2, build strong habits that make effort your daily routine. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. That's a truth that has changed more lives than any motivational talk ever could. Because what separates the successful from the average isn't luck, it's habit. It's the daily routine of doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. You can't build a strong future on weak habits. Every day, your actions either move you closer to the life you want or drift you further away from it. The little things you repeat daily become the foundation of your entire life. The person who builds strong habits doesn't need to rely on motivation, because motivation comes and goes, but habits stay. When you train yourself to show up, even on the days you don't want to, you start becoming the kind of person who doesn't quit. You make effort automatic. You make progress your normal. And once effort becomes your daily rhythm, the results eventually become effortless. You don't have to chase them. They chase you because you've built a system that works even when your emotions don't. Think about it. Every successful person you admire didn't rise overnight. They just refused to skip the daily grind. They built habits that forced them to improve. They practiced longer. They studied harder. They stayed up a little later. They woke up a little earlier. And over time, those small daily efforts compounded into greatness. That's what habits do. They take what feels impossible and make it automatic. The problem with most people is that they wait until they feel ready, but you'll never feel ready. Readiness is a lie. What you need is consistency. You need to say, this is what I do every day, no excuses. Because every time you skip a habit, you tell your mind it's okay to break your own promises. And when you do that too often, you start losing trust in yourself. The only way to rebuild that trust is through daily follow-through. Effort must become your identity. You must become the kind of person who says, this is just who I am. I work hard. I keep going. I follow through. When you reach that level of self-respect, you stop negotiating with your goals. You stop saying, maybe tomorrow. You start saying, no matter what, today. Because winners don't wait for conditions to be perfect. They make the conditions perfect through effort. The world is filled with people who start strong and fade fast. But the ones who finish strong are those who made effort a routine. They don't need someone to remind them to keep going. Their habits remind them. Their schedule keeps them honest. Their routine keeps them grounded. They don't rely on emotion. They rely on discipline. Build strong habits now. Wake up early, read daily, move your body, sharpen your mind, review your goals, stay consistent. Don't complicate it, just commit to doing the work. The mind grows through repetition, not through occasional inspiration. Every habit you strengthen today is one less weakness you'll have to fight tomorrow. And here's the truth. Life gets easier when you stop negotiating with yourself. Once you build the habit of showing up, you no longer waste energy deciding whether or not to act. You just act. The hardest part of growth is not doing the work. It's deciding to do it every day. Heck, once that decision becomes automatic, progress becomes unstoppable. So make effort your lifestyle. Build routines that serve your goals. Replace comfort with consistency. Replace excuses with structure. Because success is not about one big effort. It's about thousands of small ones that no one sees. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. And if your habits are solid, your future will be too. At the end of the day, the person who wins is not the one who wants it the most, but the one who works for it the longest. The one who stays disciplined when others give up. The one who built habits so strong that success became their natural outcome. That's how you transform, not by hoping, but by doing, day after day, until effort becomes who you are. Part 3, detach from outcomes and focus only on your process. Success doesn't come to the person who wants it most. It comes to the person who works for it longest. The moment you understand this, everything changes. Because too many people destroy their progress by obsessing over what they haven't achieved yet. They work for a week, a month, maybe 2, and when they don't see the result, they quit. They say, it's not working. But the truth is, the process was working. They just didn't stay long enough to see it unfold. Detach from the outcome and fall in love with the process that gets you there. The process is where growth happens. The result is just a reflection of how much you respected the process. When you focus too much on the outcome, you put yourself under pressure that kills progress. You stop enjoying the work. You start judging yourself every day. You stop learning and start comparing. But when you focus on the process, you start living in the present. You give your full energy to what you can control, your effort, your attitude, your consistency. That's where real success begins. Most people fail, not because they can't achieve their goals, but because they get frustrated too early. They check their progress too soon, like planting a seed and digging it up every day to see if it's growing. That's not how life works. You don't get what you want by watching the clock. You get it by doing the work until the result can no longer hide from you. When you detach from outcomes, you free yourself from anxiety. You stop needing instant results. You become patient, calm, and powerful. Every goal has a hidden timeline, and you don't get to decide how fast it unfolds. Your job is to keep showing up. The outcome is not in your control. The process is. You can control what time you wake up. You can control how much you study, practice, improve, and push. You can't control when the breakthrough comes. But if you keep doing the right things long enough, it has no choice but to come. That's how life rewards those who stay committed to the process. When you detach from outcomes, you build peace in your mind. You stop chasing validation. You stop needing others to notice your work. You begin to find satisfaction in knowing that you gave your best. You start measuring progress not by results, but by discipline. That's the mindset that separates the consistent from the emotional. One lives for progress, the other lives for praise. The one who stays longer always wins. Focusing on the process doesn't mean you stop caring about results. It means you understand results are earned, not forced. When you spend your time building skill, improving habits, and mastering your craft, results naturally follow. You can't skip steps. Every hour you invest in the process is a down payment on your future. The more you put in, the bigger the return, but only if you stay patient enough to collect it. If you want peace in your life, stop trying to predict the outcome. Trust your system. Focus on the work in front of you. Some days, it will feel like you're getting nowhere. But growth often hides behind routine. The changes are happening, you just can't see them yet. Keep going, anyway. Progress takes time to become visible, but it's always happening for those who don't quit. You'll know you've mastered the process when you no longer need motivation to keep going. When your satisfaction comes from doing the work itself, not from who's watching, not from how fast it pays off, that's when your discipline becomes stronger than your doubt. You'll start enjoying the small wins because you know they're steps towards something greater. The irony is this: the moment you stop obsessing over the results start showing up faster. Because your energy is no longer scattered, you're focused, calm, consistent. You're not wasting time worrying. You're building, you're improving, you're winning quietly. And those quiet wins, stacked over time, led to loud victories. Detach from the outcome, but never detach from the work. The process is your teacher. It builds your character, your patience, your strength. When you fall in love with the process, you become unstoppable. Because no setback can break someone who's obsessed with showing up. The result is only a snapshot. The process is your story. And if you master that, there's no limit to what you can become. Part 4. Prioritize effort over recognition and external approval. Your value is not determined by how others notice you, but by the effort you put in daily. Most people spend more time worrying about what others think than improving themselves. They look for applause, likes, or praise, and when it doesn't come, they feel defeated. That's a dangerous trap. Life doesn't reward attention, it rewards consistent effort. You can work hard for years without anyone noticing, and that's fine. Recognition is optional. Effort is mandatory. Focus on what you control: your energy, your time, your discipline. Let results speak later. When you chase approval, you give your power to someone else. You work for validation instead of growth. That's why so many people live frustrated and unsatisfied. They measure their success through external opinions. But the truth is, your effort has intrinsic value. Every hour you spend learning, practicing, or improving builds skills and character. The applause may never come, and that's okay. Your progress is real, even if it goes unnoticed. External recognition is temporary, but the strength you build through effort is permanent. Effort is not always visible. It's in the hours spent studying, training, or refining a craft when no one is watching. It's in the discipline to stick to routines, overcome laziness, and push past excuses. This work builds habits that shape your future. Recognition might follow years later, or it may not, but the internal transformation is unstoppable. When you prioritize effort over recognition, you free yourself from distraction. You stop comparing, stop worrying about popularity, and start creating a life based on substance and integrity. Some of the most successful people in history spent decades working without acknowledgement. They didn't quit because they didn't see immediate rewards. They focused on their craft, learning every day, perfecting every detail. Their effort compounded over time, creating breakthroughs far beyond what any recognition could have motivated. The lesson is clear: if you depend on praise to fuel your work, you will falter. But if effort itself becomes your drive, you become unstoppable, resilient, and powerful. Effort over recognition also strengthens character. It teaches patience and humility. You learn to be consistent when nobody is watching. You develop self-respect, pride in your work, and internal motivation that doesn't rely on external forces. That internal fire cannot be extinguished by criticism, envy, or neglect. You realize the journey itself is more important than applause, and that mindset separates average people from extraordinary achievers. Prioritizing effort means embracing discomfort. You do the work because it matters, not because it's easy or popular. It means showing up when others quit, practicing when others rest, and learning when others ignore growth. It means sacrificing temporary pleasures for long-term benefits. This is the mindset that creates breakthroughs. It's not glamorous, it's not always appreciated, but it builds results that are undeniable. Recognition is a bonus, not the goal. When your focus shifts from recognition to effort, fear disappears. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of ridicule, all lose power. You realize that your mission is bigger than anyone's opinion. You dedicate yourself to what you can control, and the energy wasted on worrying about others is redirected into creating, improving, and mastering your craft. In craft, that shift changes everything. Your confidence, your productivity, and your impact. Effort over recognition also builds long-term respect. People notice consistency, integrity, and skill over time. It may not be today, it may not be this month, but eventually the results of your relentless effort make themselves known. Your work speaks louder than words. Others may try to ignore it, but success eventually demands acknowledgement. This is the natural consequence of prioritizing effort over short-term approval. It's easy to get discouraged when the world doesn't recognize your hard work. But every moment you invest is shaping your future. Every small effort compounds into something bigger. Recognition is temporary and unreliable. Effort is eternal and unstoppable. When you commit to effort as your primary measure, you protect yourself from disappointment and create a life that matters regardless of applause. Prioritize effort above all else and watch your life transform. The work itself is the reward. When effort becomes your obsession, recognition becomes irrelevant, but results become inevitable. Focus on what you can control. Give your best consistently, and the world will catch up to your dedication. Your success is measured not by who sees it, but by how deeply you commit to the work. Every single day. Part 5. Focus on process and actions rather than outcomes or expectations. Excellence is built by focusing on what you do today, not on what you hope will happen tomorrow. Most people spend their energy fixating on results. They want instant success, quick recognition, and immediate validation. They plan for outcomes but ignore the daily actions that make those outcomes possible. That's why so many dreams never materialize. You cannot control results completely, but you can control your actions. If you obsess over outcomes, you'll live frustrated and powerless. If you focus on process, every action moves you closer to your goals. The power of focusing on process is that it shifts your energy from worry to action. Outcomes are unpredictable. Markets change, circumstances fluctuate, people respond differently, but your consistent effort is always under your control. Daily habits, routines, and disciplined actions create a foundation that results will eventually reflect. If you prioritize outcomes, disappointment follows when things don't go your way. If you prioritize actions, you create momentum and growth that is unstoppable. The process itself becomes your measure of progress, and that is far more reliable than any external result. Focusing on actions means committing to consistency. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and making progress even when the results seem invisible. The world rewards persistence more than luck. Skills compound when you focus on the process. Knowledge grows when you take daily steps toward mastery. Every small action adds up. Every deliberate effort strengthens your abilities. Outcomes are delayed reflections of your actions. When your attention is on the process, results are no longer stressful. They become natural consequences. Expectations can kill motivation. When you set rigid expectations for outcomes, you risk frustration and discouragement if reality doesn't match. Instead, focus on the quality of your actions, the discipline of your routines, and the consistency of your effort. Let outcomes be a byproduct, not a goal. By removing the pressure of expectation, you free yourself to work efficiently, creatively, and without fear. You begin to enjoy the journey, and in that enjoyment lies growth, learning, and fulfillment. Process-driven people live with energy and purpose rather than anxiety. Focusing on process sharpens your awareness. You notice details others miss. You refine techniques, improve strategies, and become more skilled in your craft. Outcomes can be deceptive. They are often affected by factors outside your control. Process is tangible, measurable, and repeatable. You can evaluate whether you are learning, improving, and giving your best. This attention to daily actions cultivates mastery over time. The better your process, the better your results, and eventually the results reflect your discipline, preparation, and consistency. When you obsess over outcomes, you might rush or take shortcuts, compromising quality. Focusing on process ensures that each step is deliberate, thoughtful, and effective. This builds confidence, resilience, and competence. It creates a sense of accomplishment regardless of external recognition. You learn to value effort itself, and with that mindset, setbacks become lessons rather than failures. Process-oriented people are unstoppable because their foundation is built on actions that they can control, not on unpredictable results or opinions of others. Process focus builds resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. If you tie your satisfaction to outcomes, every obstacle feels catastrophic. But if your satisfaction comes from doing the work well, setbacks become temporary and manageable. You learn from mistakes, adjust your approach, and continue. The journey teaches you, strengthens you, and equips you with skills that results alone cannot provide. Process orientation keeps you moving forward in the face of uncertainty and prepares you for long-term success. It also keeps you present. Outcomes live in the future. Expectations create stress. Process lives in the now. You measure success in what you do today, not in what may or may not happen tomorrow. When your attention is on actions, you engage fully, perform better, and grow faster. You notice progress, celebrate small wins, and refine your approach continuously. The process becomes rewarding in itself, and over time, it produces results that exceed even your initial expectations. Focusing on actions rather than outcomes strengthens discipline. You no longer need constant motivation or validation because you know the value of each step. Your confidence grows because you trust your effort, your skills, and your consistency. You become less reactive to external circumstances and more in control of your journey. Results are no longer emotional highs or lows. They are reflections of your deliberate daily work. Process-oriented individuals build mastery, independence, and resilience that outcome-focused people rarely achieve. By committing to process over outcomes, you gain freedom, control, and satisfaction. You focus on what you can impact, reduce anxiety, and grow steadily. Your results become inevitable consequences of consistent, high-quality actions. Every action taken intentionally strengthens your skills and builds momentum. The obsession with process transforms your mindset, creates mastery, and leads to long-term success that no expectation or outcome alone could ever produce. Your life becomes measurable not by chance, but by the deliberate and disciplined actions you take every single day. Now you understand the truth. Success is not a destination you chase. It is a life you create every day through your work. When you focus on the process, when you commit to showing up, giving your best, learning, improving, and refining your craft, results will follow naturally. Don't measure yourself by outcomes you cannot fully control. Measure yourself by the effort you invest, the discipline you practice, and the progress you make. Obsess over the work, embrace the challenge, and honor your commitment to growth. The results will always reflect the quality of your dedication. Your life, your success, your confidence, and your freedom are built on the work you do every day. Take responsibility, stay focused, and get obsessed with your craft. That is where greatness is born. That is where your future is secured. The work is yours. Own it, commit to it, live it, and watch everything else fall into place.